Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is for you, I'm Cyclone. It's time for more Let's Play Train Simulator, and it is bloody cold outside today, ladies and gentlemen. It is a rare snowstorm in California, which is a funny thing to talk about given I'm recording this in June. So a rare snowstorm in California. Despite the adverse weather, you need to couple a ST-75I to a train of grain hoppers for extra motive power. You are starting at Victorville and must complete your delivery at Barstow. So this is a fairly lengthy journey. We're going to have to watch the speed limits. And we're going to have to make sure that we don't lose our career points along the way. So this is a scoring scenario in career mode. Let's get started and see if we can complete this test successfully. These are not typical conditions for California, but you still have a job to do. Full hoppers need to go to Barstow, and your ST-75I will be the front engine. Okay. You need to move right away when you start this scenario. There's your view, by the way. So notice I'm getting this going immediately. You will need to couple to the front of the hopper train to your left. Reverse back through the yard until you get to reverse point 1 on the main line. Then drive forward to East Victorville where you can re-enter the yard. Take that off, and we're going to go center on the train for just a moment here. Right there. We have to hit that switch to leave. The rest of the junctions are set to get us out of the yard. The problem is that we're going to have a whale of a time getting to our first point on time. That is the issue we're dealing with. So somewhere behind us is going to be a crossing coming up, so we're going to actually act like we know that, because we're supposed to. That was a flashing red over red, so we are allowed yard speed here. Headlights are now on. Not a bad horn, actually. So we're going to make our way back through the yard here. Barely staying legal here. So you have to go via the reverse point, which means we have to stay above 1 mile per hour the entire time until we hit that point. Then we can hit the brakes and slow completely. So let's put some brakes on right now. Too much. Too much. There we go. Let's go. Not the best way to do that, but I managed to do it without a penalty. We have a yellow now, so we're going to go forward as soon as we're allowed. Brakes off. We can now go 45 miles per hour, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Train coming along, that's number 8273. Since he didn't blow the horn, someone had to. Now the tying point, believe it or not, is not for Victorville Track 2, which we're about to cross. It is for East Victorville Approach, which is about 3/4 of a mile away from us. Notice the arrival time is 9:04. We have to be there within a minute. Which means we're going to have to rush in, and then we're going to have to somehow slow down to yard speed so we can get into the yard again when we get to behind this train that's to our right. This is a tight one, guys. Now, the good news is this is going to stay barely legal, I believe. So now I'm going to start hitting the brakes because we're going to need to slow down. On the right are the engines to which you will be coupling. As you re-enter the yard at reverse point 2 ahead, be aware of the standard yard speed limit of 15 miles per hour. Roger. I'm going to just freeze it at 20 for a moment here if I can. And actually go a little bit further here for a moment before I hit the brakes again. So there's our yard entry signal up ahead. Whoops. The good news is you saw that we got 400 points for the task. So even though I had a little bit of a misjudgment there, we are still going to be good for timing. That should not be an issue. It should not be an issue. So we're going to stop right now. Because I went way too far. I'm going to start backing up and make sure we are going in the correct direction here. We are going to siding 5. Excellent. So we're now officially back in the yard, not on the 45 track. We have to stay at 15. Anything not coupled up here? Where are we? We're right here. What is happening here? We are all set for that. We're all set for that. Yep, nothing wrong. So you can see the thing we're coupling to back there, another one of these engines. Excellent. Gonna start braking as we're starting to get a little closer. I think we're good for speed here, so let's find out. No, we're not. Take it off for a second. Brakes are going back on. Now. We are fully connected to our train. That's great. You can now rejoin the main line. The switches ahead are set for you to exit the yard at the north end and continue on to Barstow. Thank you very much. Oh. Well, we can't maintain level 2 throttle on this one, can we? My goodness. What are you doing? What are you doing, you stupid thing? Well, time for my little train this is. Why am I gaining speed? No, no, no. What are you doing? Holy cripes. What is this train doing? It's trying to make me fail. It is trying to make me fail, guys. Look at this. It is trying to make me fail this scenario. Wow. Come on. That is not fair. That is not fair. What a temperamental train. Don't need extra engines. The cars are doing enough of it for me. Let's check the path up here. We're told we're going to re-enter the track. Yep. That's exactly what we're doing. Ah, we have a problem. Some idiot left this switch set against us. So that's a bit of a misguide on the scenario. Yeah, the switches are header set for you. Oh, you're going to derail if you don't check the one that some idiot left behind. That's literally what's happening there. Always check your switches, even if you're told everything's right. Always check your switches. The good news is in this scenario you can lose 200 points and you're still going to be fine. Because you notice that each task is worth 400 points. So we're not going to have a problem with points in these scenarios. The only problem is that the train has a mind of its own and wants to decide how well you're going to do. I can't get the train anything above 12 right now, which is unfortunate. Because as soon as I let it go, look what happens. Well, so I seem to be sticking in 13 right now, which is an improvement, but I can't get it to stick at 15 at all, because if I want to get it to stick at 15, I have to take it temporarily above 15, which means I'll be caught speeding, and right away I'm back down to 12. So this is a very, very temperamental setup I'm working with here. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. Absolutely nothing I can do about it. Like, I'm just going to say this train is not very well designed for driving this way, unfortunately. I feel like there need to be improvements to the mechanics of this train. Unfortunately, it's a very old train, and because of that, it's not going to get looked at for improvements. I can almost assure you it's not going to be improved at all. So, unless TTG starts taking user input into these things, I don't think anything's going to be fixed on this train to make it more realistic. I don't think you're... Oh, now we're allowed to drive forward. Now you're going to make me speed. Okay, I see. I see how it is. You just have a mind of your own today. You just have a mind of your own today. Turning the bell off because we're now on the main line. We're just making our way out. Let's just double check one more time. My headlights are indeed on. If I change my headlight settings, I can't. It's either off or on. It's really all it is. How's the back of our train looking? Looks like a boxcar. No lights. Okay. I don't want to go 11. I want to go 15, you jerk. Like, look at the swing and the speed. There's no way that's right. There is no way that is right. Like, I don't care who you are. There's no way that's right. Okay, I found a way to kind of finagle this now. We're going to go ahead and just keep a little bit of brake applied for a moment. Because giving me a little bit of control over what I do with the engine right now, which I'm liking a little bit. Now, even though we're on a 45 main line right now, we are going to be leaving the... Oh, come on. We're going to be leaving the 45 section. We're going to be entering a 35 mile per hour area here, so I'm going to have to keep that in mind. I guarantee you I'm going to get a drive quality penalty out of this. Please tell me we're almost out of the yard. Don't you dare speed. So we're now in the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit area, but the back of our train is still in the 15, so we're kind of being held for ransom here. Helendale arrival is far, far away according to our ETA, which is perfectly well and good for us right now. %, brake to go 15 miles per hour, ladies and gentlemen. The throttle, rather. Where's the back of our train? We are almost out of the yard. We're finally going to be able to move at least a little bit faster here. Last car entering the main line right now. There it is. Are we allowed to go? Thank you. We're going to be relying on our train coasting for a bit here. Not like that, we're not. Whoa, 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 whoa. So we have entered an area that is, whoa, whoa, don't you friggin' dare. Wow. 8-point speeding penalty because the train just lurched forward on its own. Excellent. Excellent. You know, I really don't like these scenarios that put a timing on you and then expect you to somehow negotiate these things like this. I really don't like them. I really don't. If we're late for Helendale, I tell you. Like, sure, start with 1,000 points, but don't put these penalties on us like this for... if you're going to force us to be there at a certain time. I really don't like it. This is why people don't like career scenarios in freight mode especially. Passenger is one thing. Freight is another. Because the cars in this game are literally unpredictable. We're entering at 55, so I'm going to take a chance and at least try going fast. We have 11 miles to go until Helendale. We're not going to be able to go a mile a minute, but we should be able to get there, I'd say, by 9:32. If we can maintain 55. If we can only maintain about 45 to 50, we'll be late. We have a green signal. While our train's getting up to speed, I'm going to check our entrance path at Victorville. So we're going to be going to Barstow Gate 1, obviously, way up here at the top. We're going to be heading up to this yard right here, which doesn't seem like a hard task. So we're going to be going along this yard right about all the way back. That is set. This is not... Is it? I think that's what we want to do. We'll find out later. It looks like the correct path, so I'm going to go with it. So I'm easing off getting up to speed now because I'm close to 50. I'm going to see what the train decides to do at a level 3 throttle. We're in a downhill, so I'm going to actually bring the throttle down quite a bit. Is that another train that we're about to pass? No, it isn't. So moving the throttle down to 0, we are on a downhill, which is the only reason I've done that. 0.7% downhill. I figure we're going to gain some speed on this downhill. So I'm being very, very cautious of that fact. Very cognizant of it. We actually are losing speed on the downhill. I'm okay with this. I'm going to put a level 1 throttle back on. It is advisable to keep the speed just a little bit under the speed limit to ensure that you stay within operating guidelines. That's why I don't like timings on freight scenarios. I really, really don't like timings on freight scenarios because it is advised to stay within the speed limit for safety reasons. And if you're gonna, excuse me, if you're going to advise someone they have to be there by a certain time, and then tell them, oh, you can't speed, well, guess what? They're gonna speed because they're more concerned about being on time. So give them a little bit of room in the timetable to make it safely is the way that it should be done. Hence why that first task for 904 at Victorville, that was not a safe task. That should have had a little more time to ensure the player could slow down. The only good saving grace here is that these tasks are worth 400 points each, and for that reason, there is room for speeding. Gonna go back to a level 2 throttle because I don't seem to be gaining or losing speed right now. Okay, we're starting to gain speed, so I'm moving back to a level 1 throttle. And we're now losing speed, which is not what I want to see. I do like seeing the green signals, though. You're gaining speed again on a level 1 throttle on this downhill. This seems to be a good time for me to remove my throttle completely. So when I cross 0.5, I will. The game is sentient. The game is sentient, ladies and gentlemen. It heard me and it stopped. The downhill is continuing, but there's going to be a little bit of a hump up there that we're going to have to climb over. I'm going to go back to a level 2 throttle for right now. Okay, moving the throttle again here. Now I'm actually at a speed I like, 54. But I'm not going to be able to stay there because that would involve, you know, things working the way they should. We still have an ETA of about 6 minutes from now. Our expected arrival is 10 minutes from now. So we may be, again, a little bit early here. Now, I don't have a lot of journeys trying to enter Barstow from the south yet. I'm actually wondering whether there's going to be any lag as we go into the yard at Barstow. This is a very good possibility. You may remember in a past video, driving into San Bernardino, there's heavy lag that lasts for seconds at a time if you're driving on a high quality setting, and if your computer is not capable of handling so many things in Barstow yard loading. But when you go down to a medium setting, it's a much more minimal setting. So I'm going to try to manage my commentary in a way that if there's any lag, I can cut out some of that lag. That's what I'm going to try and do here. Losing a little bit of speed now, but I'm not too concerned about that. Anywhere between 50 and 55 is good. If you're in the middle of that, that's absolutely perfect. There are no current signals on the area ahead. All signals are, well, missing right now from our side of the map. Given it's a bi-directional railway, mostly travel on each side, one train on each side. I don't see why they would expect any signals on the other side for such a long period of time. So yeah, that's why there's so few signals. Such a long track to cover, so many signals that have to be managed as it is. No point managing anymore. And just a reminder, there are no whistle boards I can discern anywhere on this route, so if we come to a crossing, we're not being warned of it. Don't worry about it. If you happen to ever memorize where they are and you can just do the horns on fly, go for it. But we're not being graded on the whistles, so don't worry about it. We're now 2.5 miles, a little less than 2.5 miles from Helendale. We're losing a little too much speed for my liking now, so I'm going back into a throttle 2. Or level 2 throttle, I should say. Gonna try and get a little bit of that speed back. Apparently level 2 throttle is having trouble in the current setting, which is I find very interesting. Okay, it is gaining again. I didn't think it was going to, but it is. The signal up ahead is a green on both tracks for some reason. There's the next signal up ahead. Now we know we had a green, so the minimum signal this will be is a yellow signal. This is a signal that I believe protects Helendale. So the Helendale sidings area on the left, on the other track, we're not concerned about that section, but it does protect the Helendale side on this section on this side of the track. I think there is one siding on this side as well. So you see Helendale indicated up ahead. 0.6 of a mile away. Again, no whistle bores I can see for those crossings. We have another green signal entering Helendale. There's a siding beginning. We don't have an entry to that siding from here. We only have the timeliness bonus, apparently. I panicked for a second there. So we only have the fact that we come alongside it. We can't actually enter that side. We can enter it from the other side, backing into it. That's about it. And here it is joining us right now. So now that we completed that task, let's just review our itinerary. We have an arrival time of 9:54 expected at Barstow Yard Gate 1. So for some reason our ETA is now a lot closer to our expected arrival time, which I do not like. As you can see, we have to arrive by 9:55. And then we go to Barstow Yard 3. And this trip through the desert is indeed an up and down trek, so the throttle and speeds are going to play some games with us as we go here. I swear this train is too long for California. Like, remember the other scenarios we didn't have trains anywhere near this long? I swear this is too long. So as we climb to the top of this area, I'm going to lower the throttle back to a level 1. We're now at 54 miles and dropping. And yeah, we're losing a lot of speed actually on that. So I'm going to hold it back at level 2 for a moment. Now in normal operating procedure, I do not believe you would normally have the train up this close to the speed limit. You would have a little bit of room under. But, you know, we're being given timeliness goals. We're being penalized harshly for not meeting them. here we are gaining more speed on a level 1 throttle, so I'm keeping a close eye on that 54 speed, making sure we don't go too much higher. We seem to have stalled. There it is. We're losing speed now. That's actually perfect for me. Something must be happening at San Bernardino, because, or I mean at Barstow, because our arrival time, our ETA, has not changed a bit. There must be something blocked. Ah. Is there a train in front of us? Is that what this is? Let's just take a quick look over here. We have a yellow signal, so somebody is in front of us or something is going on up ahead. Oh, no, there's a train up there. That's... Nope, there's a train in front of us. Yep, there it is. We're following a train. The question is what speed limit that train is going. Gonna keep level 1 throttle for a moment. That may have bought enough time. We know it's a moving train, so we may have bought enough time in order for the signal to turn green for us. We hope. So the next signal is up ahead. We need to keep an eye on that signal as we approach. Make sure that that signal up ahead is at least a yellow signal. Preferably a green signal, but not likely given we were going almost the speed limit a moment ago. So I need to lower my speed just a little bit to be sure, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because we are under caution, I want to make sure I am not speeding too much. I can't even see the signal. I see what looks like a not red up ahead. So I'm going to speed up. I got a glimpse of it. It is a yellow. So we are still under caution. I'm going to zoom back out. We're going to see if we pass it at the as it turns green. If it does, we know we're able to go the speed limit again. It did not. We're going to keep it a little bit under the speed limit just to give the train ahead more time to get away from us. I hope the timing is not so tight that we have to enter right behind that other train. I really hope that that is not the case. Taking a quick look at our speed. Let me actually do it this way. That's how fast we're going. And if I head up to this train, which is ahead of us, way ahead of us by now, that's how fast it's going. So head back to this train. We're going about the same speed. We should be in good shape. So we are definitely following apparently a more high priority train here, to say the very least. 9:55 is our arrival time. We got about 14 minutes to go 12 miles. We're not going anywhere near a mile a minute, so at some point we are going to have to be upgraded to a green signal if we're going to get enough speed here. Peering ahead at the next signal. That looks like a yellow or a green. We'll be able to tell you in a moment. I think it's a yellow, but it could very well be green. If it's a green, I can go back to speed limit. It looks like a green. Speed limit it is. So there's a second signal block very quickly into this one, it looks like. Definitely a green signal. Take that down to a level 1 throttle. Now we're going to start speeding, aren't we? Of course we are. Nope, we're freezing at 55.1, 2, 3. That is not freezing. Don't use speed. Please don't. Okay, that's what I want to see. Perfect. I will take that. So we are now regaining speed, getting close to 55 again. We're going to see what happens here. I'm also still keeping an eye out on the next signal if we see one coming. There it is. About a mile away from us. That's the signal. By the way, we're now about 9 miles away from Barstow Yard Gate 01. So we are getting close to our destination here. We have 11 minutes to make it, so we're more or less still in the ballpark of a mile a minute here, but again, we're going to lose a slight amount of time on each of those minutes because we're not quite going a mile a minute. More like 9 or 9.5 tenths a mile a minute. So that's a train coming, I believe. Number 8285 coming by. Now we're losing speed again. The reason is because we're on uphill, so I'm putting a small boost to my throttle for right now to counter the uphill. 0.7% grade. I'm going to go ahead and drop that back off, because I expect we're going to gain speed on this upcoming downhill again. There's a very, very high green signal. The height doesn't necessarily mean anything, it just means it's high. High. Up off the ground, that's all it is. Another signal coming up. It has to be a minimum yellow signal, so I'm not worried about it right now. The ETA has started to change up ahead. We now have added a second to it. So I'm going to say the train ahead of us must have moved off onto the Mojave path. And we are now on our own for our own speed at this point. So we're going to work with that. So now trying to manage the full 54 is ideal. We are getting green signals, but it is looking like it's going to be very, very tight right now. We might have given too much time for those yellow signals back there. We might have dropped too much speed for our progress. So we can afford to be within a minute late. That's not a problem. What will be a problem is if we end up being more than a minute late or if we speed into the yard, especially at a very, very high speed. We're now within 5 miles of Barstow Yard Gate 1, or 01. We're slowly losing time on our ETA against us. I'm keeping a close eye on that to see how I need to manage that. But given how quickly we're covering a half mile here, I think we might be okay. We're not losing too much time. We do see there is a signal up ahead. We can zoom in on this because it looks like it's straight ahead. Is that a red? There's no way that's a straight red, is it? You know what? We need to find out if it's a straight red. Whoops. No, it's just a yellow. It is a yellow. Now the reason it's yellow is to tell us of the yard entry. When we get to the yard entry, that's where we have to be going 15 miles per hour. So we're going to keep it going for a little while until I see the next signal. That's where we're going to need to slow down. Ideally before then, but we're on a time limit. So the next signal is showing up on the HUD right now. I'm letting the speed go down gradually on its own. I am going to have to apply a brake as well. I'm going to go ahead and run a save right here. So we are approaching Barstow Yard Gate 1, about 4 minutes away now from our estimated required arrival time, I should say. We're estimated to arrive a little before 9:55. That is probably going to be slightly higher. Now, you see a 60 mile per hour speed limit coming up. I don't understand why. We've been going 55 the whole time. Why go 60 now? We can't ever use it. I guess it's 60 beyond this part of the track. That's probably why. Now, even though we have a yellow signal, I think we're going to be clear because based on the required time for arrival. I think we're going to be clear by the time we get there. Plus, the next signal is still 2 miles away, so we're going to have to slow down for a speed limit of 15 at some point entering the yard anyway. Now, let's just check our entry into the yard once again. We're coming in through... That is not where we're going. We're going to be taking Barstow Yard Gate 1, I am fairly sure. We're going to get junctioned in somewhere off in this area right here. So this will need to be set for us right here. I thought I set that earlier. Did that unset? Did that unset on me? Or is it actually something I don't need and I'm forgetting I set the correct one earlier? So the next signal should be showing up in about a mile, I would imagine. And that signal is going to be telling us that we have to enter the yard at 15. Because that's around the point, I believe, where Barstow Yard Gate 01 is located. There's a 30 up ahead, yeah. Don't be fooled by that 30. Our yard entry is right there. So we have to somehow rush into the point right beyond that signal, which... Are we being moved correctly? This is a little concerning. There it is. It just sat on us. Okay, I don't know what happened there. I must have been a little early. But the yard is now set on us, so we are able to proceed. But we have to also slow down heavily right now. So that's a good start for slowing down. I want to make sure we don't speed into the yard, because if we get our perfect score, we're only going to get 270 points here if we get our perfect score. And then we're going to lose points from that. So if we get our 1,000 and then lose points, we don't get anything else. So we're going to make sure we get our speed down now. Down, down. There it is. So now we're under the 30, and then we're going to be under the 15. We can take our time on the 15. We have all the time on Earth for this 15. There's number 3734. Drive to the... That's not speed. Drive to the end of Barstow Siding 3 so that your whole train is within the siding. When you have stopped, you can end your shift. I am watching that speed like a hawk right now. Also, where are we entering? Uh-oh. I was right. This was right. Never mind. We're good now. I did switch it in correctly. I mean, we're taking a very interesting path to get to yard 3, are we not? Could we have not just taken the main line? Why did we leave the line? That makes no sense. Why did we leave the line to do that? we're going back to the main now. Why was it set like this? That is speeding. That's about to speed. Don't speed. You gotta catch these things. We got to a 0.9% gradient. We were about to speed. We're gonna have to keep an eye on the speed here. Now, notice the guy said stop. Put the whole train inside the siding. We really don't have to. If you're in real life and you don't put the whole train in the siding, you're gonna get yourself in a heap load of trouble. But in this game, if you just stop the train literally right now, you are fine in terms of completing the scenario. So, of course, I'm more concerned about being proper myself. I'm also concerned about not speeding. So, we're going to drop 2 miles off of that again. I don't believe this train is equipped with the air brake functionality, so I'm not going to worry about it. Trying to do something fancy to maintain speed here. I don't think it's going to work very well. I was going to keep the brakes applied, air brake style now. We're going to see what happens. This is not working the way I want at all. Take those brakes completely off. A finicky little train she is. I wonder if I should just put on some of the car brakes. Well, we're holding for a moment. This is good news. Oh, and I have a 12 throttle applied. I'm still holding. That's actually okay. As long as I don't take any drive quality penalties, I don't care otherwise. The good news is about 2/3 of our train is now in the siding, so we're in good shape right now. Back to using the throttle as a wow. Okay, I'm going to hold at this for a moment. We're actually doing okay here. Bring that back to level 1 throttle. We're almost completely in the siding and this nightmare can end. I think if I get up to that little hump in the line, that's probably a good enough spot right there. Not very much white line left for us to cross. We're losing speed. I'm okay with that. I can lose speed now. I'm fine with that. We're fully in the siding. Let's go. Let's go. Nope, I'm okay losing speed now. Let it go. We're finishing. Let's take a look at our train as we finish this nightmare of a scenario, shall we? Once the train comes to a stop, that is. I may have to apply more brakes. I am Gonna let it slow on its own without being jerky, and then I'll apply more brakes. Our final task is just stop. That's literally our final task. Alright, we're done. Let's look at our train, shall we? The nightmare comes to an end. Oh, that yard work at Victorville was just insanely tight. And the way this train drives, this is... I'm not sure how realistic this is, but this just feels wonky to me. In any case, good job. The hoppers have been delivered to the correct siding and will be sorted shortly. You cannot finish your shift and get out of the cold. So yeah, even if this is the way the train normally works, compared to the trains I've been driving so far in this game, European, German, whatever, this just feels wonky. Maybe this is a normal North American train. I don't know. I haven't driven enough North American to know. I've driven Sherman Hill. That's about it. Donner Pass. Those two. That's it. So I guess North American trains are just wonky. No wonder I don't like driving them too much. But in any case, we're done here. Let's, I'm just going to wish you, we're going to get to the menu screen because I have to remember we're in a career scenario. So over to the menu. So there it is. Speeding penalties aside, we still got 1,000 points because each goal was worth 400. And if there was any type of scenario where I'm glad a scenario was worth more points than you actually walk away with, this is a scenario I'm happy to see it on. That was just a tough train to drive for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's an ST75i thing. I don't know. Kind of funny, I was talking about a long time ago about wanting to drive the Canadian National variant of the ST75i because after all, the ST75i does run to this day, I believe, in North America, in Canada, for Canadian National. And one of the only two purchasers of the train besides Ontario Northern who has 6 of their own. And now I'm starting to wonder if I'm ever going to actually want to drive that thing. I'll see. If there's a scenario for it, I'll give it a drive. The mod for it, that is. But it's a little bit of a different look of the train, I guess. Had to be a physical change to it. So it might not look right anyway. Well, I'll think about it. In any case, you can see we got our 400. We got our other 400. Got that 270. So, yeah, we gained 1,070 points. But that's because we had 130 points in penalties. We would have only... Or no, 70 points in penalties. No, say that back. We have 70 points in penalties. We didn't get 130 points in additional penalties to warrant getting the whole 400 on the last goal. So we were fortunate enough to drive that fairly well. We actually got, if you think about it, our score would have been 1,130 points if not for the limit on the 1,000. So, hey. And of course, if you do hit over 1,000 and then you get a penalty, then you don't get your buffer like you would with the getting to the last task on time. So... it's just the way the game works, I guess. In any case, I hope you enjoyed that torture that I put myself through for your entertainment. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever you're part of the world. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. You can join my Discord server as well. And what is going to be coming up next? Well, we're going to go to the SC75M. Let's take a quick look at the menu here, actually, while we do that. So naturally, you're noticing I did not do the standard version of this scenario. No need to do an hour-long scenario twice, I say, even for practice. I just don't want to spend that much time on one scenario unless it's the whole scenario. So we're going to go ahead and move next time to the SC75M. We're going to be climbing Sullivan's Curve with a mixed freight to Barstow. We're going to be going via Sullivan's Curve. It looks like it's only a 25-minute scenario, and Sullivan's Curve is far from Barstow. I have a feeling we're going to be stopped well before, even before Victorville. I think we're going to be going even before Victorville, stopping at some point. We might even stop at the summit because that's past Sullivan's Curve. I don't know. We're going to stop somewhere well before Barstow, I believe. We're going to be heading then to Needles. Needles is actually off the map. We're going to be preparing for a departure to Needles from Barstow. We're going to fuel our train, add the final freight cars, and then hook up the freight power. And I think that is literally where we end the scenario because we cannot go to Needles. Then we're going to go to this scenario. And this is a career scenario. So we're going to be held up by the highwaymen, which is going to be work starting on some of the overhead bridges out of San Bernardino in preparation for a third main track. You know what that means, guys? It's going to be made present day. So this is what they're doing to acknowledge the fact that a third track was being added. So this is basically like a present day 2008, 2009, 2010 type thing. I don't know exactly when the main track was added, but it was sometime in the 2000s, I believe. So they're now doing a scenario that basically pays tribute to that whole thing. And they're fixing the bridges to be able to add the third track underneath and have enough room to do that. So we're going to have some probably slow stretches in that area under the bridges. Some 20 mile per hour speed restrictions. So that's going to be an interesting scenario to play right there, driving very slow under those bridges in the work area so that the workmen do not get hurt. That's a very, very nice concept for a scenario. That's going to be our finale on Tuesday of next week for this series of scenarios before I go to something new. And I'll be back in the UK or Germany for that. So those are the 3 scenarios that are coming up. Next time it will be climbing Sullivan's Curve. Make sure to come back for that. Again, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm Cyclone. If you are watching on the playlist, that will be up shortly. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. That video will start in 3, 2, 1.